cruising in their new ride together after leaving the infirmary in the outskirts of town. Lu turned to her side to ask Aang why he needed a place to go into seclusion to cultivate. With his sunglasses on and eyes on the road, Aang replies that he needed somewhere quiet in order to fully concentrate without any worries. He was also going to use the time to research deeper into the integration core, so they would be able to fuse with it smoothly. Since the integration core demon was able to use all of the elements, based on that, Aang thought that this integration core probably contains the last element that he needed, which is the earth element. If Aang manages to obtain all 5 elements, like Aang the last avatar, and use the integration core to combine all 5 elements together. He was curious about what would happen. Lu mentions that her father once said that some cities that are B ranked and above can provide an isolated room for cultivators to cultivate in, which was usually utilized by warriors for their practices, which may fill Aang's criteria. Hearing that as they drove into the sunset, Aang figured out that it was a coincidence that they were near a B rank city right now. So they could go and see. We now reach Salamanca City, a B rank city. It was a city built with ancient architectural plans. This trade hub city was designed with a more medieval feel to its exterior, yet a modernized feel to its interior. As they walked through the city together, Aang commented that it seems like this city was pretty popular with tons of people everywhere. Lu agrees with what he said, noticing that there were a lot of warriors from other places here. She could also spot a certain group, showing that there were some active hunting teams in the city. Aang was surprised to hear that a city girl like Lu was able to know about hunting teams. She explains to him that this was general knowledge, and that hunting teams were human warriors that didn't stay inside cities. They were the type to roam about on the outskirts of various cities and have no fixed settlements. Hunting teams mainly explore and scavenge for various resources, and the criteria to join a hunting team are rather strict. Combine them with firearms, the hunting teams could function like a massive organization. She also tells Aang that despite being a rank B city, Salamanca City was also a rare trade hub city. Which was why there were so many warriors from other factions entering this place, a trade hub city, with an advanced trading market. But she does hope that they could find a suitable cultivation room here. Soon enough, at the super cultivation room building, Aang's voice could be heard everywhere as he shouted about what 300 battle points meant. The owner was stunned by Aang's question, wondering if he was messing with him. The owner couldn't believe that despite being a warrior, Aang didn't know about battle points. So he introduces it to us, explaining to Aang that battle points are a unique currency for warriors, allowing warriors to use these points to spend on whatever they want in the city. But as the owner looks closely at Aang's core, he could see that he was a quadruple-finned warrior, making it hard to believe that Aang couldn't know about the battle points. The owner even thought that Aang was cosplaying as a warrior. Lu comes in, informing Aang that battle points were bound to a warrior's id, so it was easy for them to check how much battle points he currently has. Aang simply needed to scan his finger on the machine that Lu is pointing at. Aang follows Lu's instruction without hesitation, thinking about how in his previous life, there were no battle points, as the resources were equally shared with everyone, and if anyone needed anything, they simply had to submit a request to their higher-ups. As he pressed the scanner, Aang couldn't believe how much this new era was different from the one he was from. Everything had changed for him. The moment he scanned his finger, the system announced to everyone that Aang had 0 battle points. Everyone started to laugh at our boy, thinking that Aang was some sort of a joke for coming in to reserve a cultivation room without any battle points. They even laugh at the owner for believing that Aang had any battle points to spend at this place. The owner was furious upon discovering that Aang had 0 battle points. Shouting at our boy for messing around with him and trying to reserve a cultivation room without any battle points. Aang was sort of embarrassed, thinking about why he was broke in this life, and how natural it was for him to always somehow be poor. The owner wasn't stopping in his scolding, telling Aang that the cheapest room he has to be rented goes for at least 600 battle points. But as he continues to scold Aang, Lu happens to scan her finger as well, allowing the system to announce that she has over 1.2 million battle points, catching the attention of the owner instantly. With a cold look on her face, she tells the owner that they were going to have his biggest room. Her subtle flex on everyone was enough to leave them stunned as their mouths remained wide open after seeing how rich she was. It turns out that the reason behind her massive wealth was due to her father's other identity, which was that he is Helios City's richest man, making her the richest daughter. As they were being guided over to the room they rented by the owner, Aang tells Lu that he was going to repay her in the future for sure, but she tells him that there was no need. Aang even comments about how he knew that she came from a rich family, but didn't expect her to be that rich. Lu shyly blushes at his sudden remark, but in her mind, she recalled that her father had told her to maintain a low profile, but she couldn't stand it when everyone was making fun of Aang earlier on. After some time, the owner poses in front of a large door, pointing towards it and informing Aang and Lu that they were at their rented room. He explains that the large room was spanning 200 meters, with all four walls being made of the strongest materials. There was a beautiful deck on the other end for them to rest too. If it was interfering with their training, then they could keep it hidden underground. Aang and Lu were impressed by the state of the room as they entered it. Lu tells the owner that they will be using the room from now on. For the number of days they would use, it will depend on how long it takes for Aang to finish his training. The owner happily agrees to all of Lu's requests. After all, money is power. Lu then tells Aang that she wouldn't disturb and to use the room as much as he wanted, because while he was going to train, Lu plans on looking around the city. Then she was going to rent another room near this palace, because she wanted to sort out the things that she had gotten over the last few days. Aang understood what she wanted and informed her that he was going to find her once he was done, seeing that it was cold. Aang even offered to give Lu his jacket, but our girl was shy, shouting at Aang and denying his offer. As soon as she left, Aang took out the integration core, placing it on the ground while thinking that he needed to get even more stronger. After all, he needed to save Desha first. Reminder, Desha was the blue core warrior amongst the old 6 talents. Due to his rebellion against the new king, his arms and legs were crippled as he was sent to prison. With the new 6 talents and king, Aang was determined that when the time comes, he will hunt them all, one by one. Looking back, he could see that the backlash he suffered from the demonic energy was a reminder that he couldn't just rely on the demon's strength. He needed to increase his own strength as well. Opening the case of the integration core, he knew that after obtaining the earth element from inside of it, he would be able to combine all the 5 elements. And so, alone in the training room, Aang calls out to the integration core, causing a bright light to shine. As Lu explored the city by herself, she was starting to remember what happened in the cemetery castle on her way to this city. She could definitely feel that she had awakened some kind of ability in her body. Remembering her demonic form, she could feel that her strength had instantly increased to that of a quadruple-finned core warrior. But the power she had experienced was both strange and terrifying. At first it stirred something within her, a thirst for battle, and a desire to become stronger. At the same time, she could feel that there was someone whispering in her eyes, telling her, ordering her, to become even stronger than she was. She saw it as another version of herself, making her wonder what was inside her body that was causing her desire to grow stronger and even more powerful. The ability in her body right now was a power that she couldn't fully control. As she wandered across the city, Lu happened upon a place where there was a long queue coming out of it. The spokesman announces to everyone nearby that the battle arena was an arena full of excitement and that they should queue up for their tickets. Lu looked closely and could see that it was a warriors' arena competition. Seeing that there were all sorts of warriors from all kinds of factions, she knew that this kind of place would attract them. Thinking about the arena deeply, she thought about how fighting in a battle might help her with familiarizing herself to master the mysterious ability in her body. Despite that strange voice inside her body whispering certain things to her, Lu was sure of one thing: she needed to fight and become stronger. But if she were to join the arena competition, she thought it would be best for her to hide her identity. In a sweet coincidence, a nearby merchant selling festival masks and nano jackets for warriors was right beside Lu, catching her attention. Picking up a mask, Lu confirms her decision to join the warriors' competition, determined to become stronger in order to no longer drag others down. As she wore her mask, her hair started to change color. From white it turned black. Lu didn't want anyone or any demon to look down on her for her abilities either. If there really was a mysterious ability that had awakened inside of her, then she was going to make it hers. As Lu entered the arena competition, the spokesman was going through the tickets, happy that there was a big catch today as well. Lu speaks to him, asking the boss if she could enter the arena competition. The boss happily greets her, asking about her name or nickname and what warrior rank she was. Lu thought about it for a moment, before answering the boss that she was a quadruple-finned warrior. And for her name, she wanted him to announce her as the Rakshasa cat. Hearing her replies, the boss happily welcomes Lu, telling her that the Salamanca city's warrior arena welcomes her. But before she left, he was curious about whether she was joining the battle today. Lu tells him that she would be fighting. Hearing that made the boss even happier, as it had been a while since they had any female warriors in the arena. All they had so far were male warriors, which were all the same. It was rare for a female warrior to participate in the arena, so if the boss man was able to market Lu properly, then he was definitely going to hit the jackpot. He then shouts somewhere, asking somebody to lead Lu to the registration counter. A young boy appears, carrying a tablet at the boss man's orders. So the young boy guided Lu into the arena building, informing her that he had already registered her in their system using their tablet. The young boy calls Lu by her title, Warrior Rakshasa Cat, as he wanted to explain the rules of the arena to her. Hearing him call her that, Lu requests that he drops the title as there was no need for it. The young boy was impressed by Lu's request, and happily calls her sister Rakshasa Cat instead. So Lu questions him about what was the highest level amongst the warriors that were participating in the competition. The young boy informs her that currently, Salamanca City Arena's strongest participating warrior is Quintuple Core Warrior. But he assures her that there was no need to worry, as the strongest warrior they had was for the men's arena. While the current highest female core warrior was currently around the same strength as her. A quadruple core warrior. Hearing that, Lu figured out that the male and female warriors have separate stages. The young boy agrees with what Lu said, informing her that a lot of male warriors have chosen to participate in the arena, but a few of the female warriors would ever choose to join in an arena competition like this. But Lu was confused on why the male and female warriors were split apart, as it would make more sense to just fight from a single pool of fighters. The young boy explained that there was an arena where both male and female fighters fought each other once, but he had heard that in the end, all the male warriors refused to fight against the female warriors. The male warriors explained that if they were to lose to those female warriors, then their pride would be severely wounded, and if they won, then they would feel embarrassed. Which was why they ended up separating the male and female warriors, and ever since then, fewer female warriors have joined the arena. Lu didn't like the reason behind the separation of warriors, telling the young boy that only a person's strength determines whether or not they would win or lose. And that there was nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed of. For those who talk about pride, are weaklings that think that they are strong. Lu's words resonated with the young boy as his cheeks flushed red. He agrees with Sister Lu, believing that she was super cool and that a warrior's strength determines the winner. As they reached the end of the pathway, the young boy announced that they had arrived as Lu was enveloped in a bright light. They had finally arrived at the female warriors arena. Lu looked around, noticing that there were a ton of people watching. If she hadn't worn her mask, she would have been extremely nervous. Looking at the arena, the young boy informs her that all she needed to do was to step onto the arena and fight with all her might in order to win all the matches and the prize money. But being a rich girl, Lu wasn't interested in the prize money, she wanted something else. So the young boy tells her that besides the prize money, there was also the rankings, as raising your rank in the arena's listing could be considered a form of glory and honor too. Hearing that, Lu accepts the ranking as her reward, as there was nothing more important to a warrior than glory and honor. Those words were enough to capture the young boy's heart as he covered his face, believing that he had just fallen in love with Lu. Standing on the arena, the announcer announces to everyone that a new female warrior had joined their female warriors arena. Asking everyone to welcome Lu as the Rakshasa Cat. The crowd was excited with this news, as it's been ages since a female warrior had been on the arena stage. Lu noticed the excitement of the crowd, making her realize that there were really few female warriors that had joined and fought in this arena. Seeing this, Lu couldn't help but be curious about what it was like at the male warriors arena. The announcer could feel the excitement coming from the crowd, so then they went on to introduce the other warrior, the only female warrior remaining in the women's stage. The goddess of their female warriors arena makes her appearance. Looking at the screenboard, Lu couldn't believe that there was actually only one female warrior left in this female warrior arena stage. The only name on the female warrior board was the gorgeous Linghua. She enters the stage, waving to everyone in the crowd and telling them that she loves them. The crowd goes wild, holding up banners with Linghua's name written all over them. They were excited to see the beautiful Linghua back in action once again. One of the members in the crowd even asked if Linghua could step on him. Looking at the crowd and their reactions to Linghua, Lu felt disappointed as she finally understood why there weren't any normal female warriors participating in this arena. Because of Linghua, the female arena had turned into such a disgusting place. Linghua turns to Lu, asking her if she was her opponent, and introduces herself as the gorgeous Linghua, a quadruple-finned blue core warrior. Lu introduces herself as the Rakshasa Cat, a quadruple-finned black core warrior. In her mind, ever since the time she had awakened her powers, Lu was able to vividly sense the spatial and time energy around her. As for what ability she has, she knew that she still needed a lot of battle experience in order to figure things out. But for now, she needed to settle something with the hoe in front of her. After hearing Lu's introduction, Linghua was curious to see who she really was under the mask. So she twirls around with her beauty, telling everyone in the crowd that if Lu loses, she has to take off her mask. Which is now a bet between the two of them. The crowd watching the monitor screamed out with joy upon hearing Ling Hua's suggestion and started to chant her name in unison. Lu could see that Ling Hua was really putting on an act, even eyeing the camera while saying all that stuff. Lu could only reply that as quadruple-finned warriors, they just needed to have a proper fight against one another. As the announcer broadcasts the start of the fight, Lu entered into a fighting stance with her hands out while Ling Hua started to move towards her, asking everyone if they were ready to witness her beautiful dance moves. Lu's expression underneath her mask was filled with shock by what Ling Hua did next. She was dancing across the arena, waving her wand around while spreading love. She even winks to the camera, telling the audience that the stage was going to be filled with romance. The crowd was excited by what Ling Hua was doing, cheering her on, as she did her classic move, delicate steps, causing her to be beautiful and have thorny flowers blooming everywhere. Lu, on the other hand, wasn't even moving at all, making the announcer believe that she might have given up because of Ling Hua's large-scale attack. Ling Hu was excited, thinking that she was already the winner, but before she could even do her next move, Lu simply appears right in front of her and bitch slaps her across her face, turning beauty into poop and leaving the audience in the stands completely stunned by what had happened. Even the announcer in the broadcasting room was stunned by Lu's action, along with the young boy that had brought her in. Lu had instantly ended the match with a single slap, leaving Ling Hua foaming from the mouth as she laid on the ground unconscious. Looking at Ling Hua's current state, Lu couldn't help but compare her to the douchebag young master that had attacked her from back at the cemetery castle. She couldn't even feel a single core's worth of aura from her. Even Ling Hua's skill was nothing but a skill to satisfy and appeal to the audience. She continues to scold Ling Hua, telling her that she was the reason why female warriors like them don't get the respect they deserved. In a serious tone, Lu reminds everyone that warriors were people who live for battle. And with her fist trembling in anger, she warns Ling Hua to never insult the title of warrior like this ever again, and to not look down on warriors. The young boy was the first one to cheer on Lu for her wonderful takedown of Ling Hua. The crowd was confused for a moment as they looked at one another. But soon enough, they ripped the image of Ling Hua away from their t-shirts and replaced it with an image of the Rakshasa cat instead. Ling Hua's fans had completely changed sides, now they were cheering on Lu as the Rakshasa cat. The boss immediately makes his presence on stage as well, congratulating Lu for taking over first place in the arena while praising her for ending the match with a single slap. But Lu looks at him with a serious face underneath the mask, telling the boss that there was no longer any need to hold the one-person arena fights from now on. All she wanted from him was to bring her to the male warriors arena stage now, leaving the boss with a stunned look on his face. With her demonic aura leaking everywhere, Lu repeats her words to the boss, "I want to fight in the male warriors arena stage."
Thanks for watching the latest part from the voice of Manhwa. Subscribe for more content and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more.